In a time of kings and castles, most men slept until the sun forced them awake. They believed rest was the only reward for a hard life. This is the story of one such man. His name was Everard. He was broke, he was tired, and he was invisible to the world. But he discovered a secret hidden in the darkness before dawn. A secret that didn't require magic or luck. It only required him to wake up while the rest of the world slept. This is how the 500 a.m. habit changed his destiny forever. Everard lived in a small hut on the edge of a bustling market town. Every night, he went to sleep hungry. Every morning, he woke up with nothing. He worked odd jobs. He carried heavy loads for merchants. He cleaned stables, but the coins he earned were barely enough for a single loaf of bread. He watched the rich men of the town. They wore fine wool and ate meat. He wondered, what do they have that I do not? Are they smarter? Are they luckier? He was smart. He was strong, but he was trapped. He believed his poverty was a curse written in the stars. He believed he was destined to struggle. The worst part wasn't the hunger. It was the silence. It was the feeling of being invisible. He felt like a ghost in his own life. One evening, an old merchant stopped near his hut. His cart had broken a wheel. Everard helped him fix it. The merchant offered him food and a place by the fire. As they sat by the fire, the old man spoke. He didn't talk about luck or fate. He talked about time. "Boy," he said, "that gives the same daylight to the king and the peasant. But the man who uses the darkness before the sun rises, that man sees the daylight twice." Everard didn't understand. "What use is the dark?" he asked. The old man smiled and went to sleep. But Everard couldn't sleep. The words echoed in his mind. The darkness before the sun. He decided to test the old man's riddle. That night, he went to bed early. He was afraid. Afraid of the cold. Afraid of the dark. But more afraid of staying the same. Before the rooster crowed, before the first bird sang, while the moon was still high in the sky, Everard woke up. It was cold. It was dark. His body screamed at him to stay under his thin blanket, but he got up. He walked outside. The village was a ghost town. No merchants, no noise, no one to judge him. For the first time in years, he felt peace. He felt free. He walked to the river and splashed cold water on his face. He didn't have a purpose yet. He just sat there, watching the water flow, thinking. He walked to the empty market. He looked at the stalls. He saw the trash left behind, the wood that needed fixing, the spots where the most people would walk. In the quiet, his mind worked differently. He noticed things he never saw during the chaos of the day. He saw opportunities. Then the sun rose. The golden light hit his face, and for the first time, he didn't feel like a beggar watching the rich. He felt like a man watching his own world begin. He ran back to his hut. He remembered the broken axe head in his corner. He had an idea. A simple idea. That first morning, he didn't try to become a millionaire. He just sharpened his old broken axe. He made it useful again. While the other men stumbled to the tavern for breakfast, Everard walked into the forest. He had 2 hours of work done before they even opened their eyes. He chopped wood, not for a master, for himself. He stacked it neatly. By the time the sun was high, he had a pile of firewood ready to sell. He carried the wood to the market. The other vendors were just setting up. Everard was already selling. A woman needed wood for her oven. She bought his pile. It wasn't much, but it was his money earned with his hands, using his time. With the coins, he bought a real meal. Meat. He ate it slowly, savoring every bite. He realized he hadn't just earned food, he had earned dignity. That night, he made a mark on his wall. One day, he promised himself, he would do it again, no matter what. The next morning was harder. His muscles ached. The cold bit deeper, but he remembered the taste of the meat. He got up. He chopped wood every morning, rain or frost, darkness or light. He became a ghost in the forest, working while others dreamed. He saved his coins. He bought a better axe. Then he chopped faster. He saved more coins. He bought a second axe. He realized he couldn't chop all the wood in the forest alone. So he found a boy just as poor as he once was. He paid him to help. With 2 axes swinging, the pile grew twice as fast. Everard didn't just sell. He would now. He sold more wood than anyone in the market. Merchants started coming to him. They wanted his wood. They didn't want to wait for the slow vendors. Everard had the supply. He had the power. He was no longer invisible. People knew his name. They respected him. But Everard knew the secret. They weren't respecting him. They were respecting the man who woke up early. His hut was getting too small for his dreams. He had coins jingling in his pocket, but he wasn't a millionaire yet. He was just comfortable, and comfortable was not enough. He looked beyond the forest. He knew of a town 2 days' travel away. They had no trees there. They paid triple for wood. He hired more men, not just boys, strong men. He gave them a deal, work for him, and he would pay them more than the market rate. He organized a caravan, carts loaded with wood. He led them to the faraway town. The journey was long and dangerous. When he arrived, the town welcomed him. They had been freezing. His wood was gold. He sold the entire caravan in one morning. He returned home with a chest of coins, more money than he had seen in his entire life. But he didn't stop. He reinvestigated all. He built a warehouse, a place to store the wood so it wouldn't rot in the rain. He bought more axes. He hired more men. Now, when Everard woke up at 5 a.m., he wasn't alone. His men woke up too. He had created a rhythm, a culture of discipline. He stopped chopping wood himself. His job was different now. His job was to think, to plan, to find new markets. And he did all of this before sunrise. He moved his mother out of the old hut. He built her a stone house with a real fireplace. She cried. She said she never thought she'd be warm again. But every morning at 5 a.m., Everard was in his office, looking out at the same dark village. He remembered the old merchant, the man who uses the darkness, sees the daylight twice. Years later, the old merchant returned to the village. He found not a broke peasant, but a wealthy trader. Everard ran to him and bowed. "You gave me the riddle," Everard said. "You changed my life." The old man just smiled. "I only gave you words. You gave yourself the discipline." Everard thought back to his childhood. He remembered watching the sunrise as a boy. He loved it then. But somewhere along the way, he started sleeping through it. He realized the sunrise didn't change. The world didn't change. He changed. He stopped treating the early morning as a punishment. he started treating it as a gift. He walked through his warehouse. The wood was just wood, but the life he built that was built from hours no one else wanted. He taught his apprentices the same lesson. "The first hour is yours," he told them. "No merchants, no debts, no problems, just you and your mind." While others slept, his men planned. While others complained about the cold, his men had already started the fire. They were always one step ahead. Success wasn't about being smarter. It was about starting earlier. It was about using the silence to find clarity before the noise of the day took over. He watched his competitors. They woke up late. They rushed. They made mistakes. They were always reacting to the day. Everard was always shaping it. The river where he first washed his face became his sanctuary. He went there every morning, not to work, just to be, to feel grateful. He looked at his reflection. He didn't see the broke boy anymore. He saw a man of substance, a man of his own making. The village would wake up, stretch, and begin their day of labor. Everard had already lived a full morning by then. He was ready for anything. The money kept coming. It wasn't luck. It was the compound effect of thousands of early mornings, small wins stacking into a fortune. Everard became the richest man in the region, not because he was a genius, but because he mastered the one thing most men waste: the early morning. As an old man, Everard sat by the fire. His grandchildren asked him, "Grandfather, what is the secret to a good life?" He pointed to the window. Outside, the world was still dark. "Do you see that?" he asked. They nodded. "That is where I found everything I ever wanted." "But it's dark and scary," a boy said. Everard laughed. "The dark is only scary if you have nothing to do. If you have a purpose, the dark is just a quiet room to work in." He took his eldest grandson to the edge of the forest. He handed him a small, sharp axe. "Tomorrow, before the sun wakes up, meet me at the river." The boy was there before dawn, shivering, but there. Everard put a hand on his shoulder. "You have just passed your first test. You showed up. The rest is easy." The grandson learned the habit. He grew up. He became successful. And he taught his children. The habit passed down through generations. The village changed. They built a monument to the old merchant who gave the riddle. But really the monument was to the idea that time when seized is more valuable than gold. And so the story of the broke man who became a millionaire became legend. But it wasn't magic. It was a choice made every single day in the dark before the world could tell him he couldn't. Everard's world is long gone, but the principle remains. The world is loud. The world is distracting. But for a few hours every morning, it is silent. The question isn't whether you have talent. The question isn't whether you are lucky. The question is, what will you do with the silence? If this story moved you, if you want to build your own destiny, subscribe to Sight of Fortitude. We bring you stories of strength every week. Tell us in the comments, what time do you wake up? Are you seizing the darkness? Share your goals with us. We want to hear your story. Watch one of these videos next to continue your journey. Remember, the world can wait. Your destiny starts now. We'll see you in the next story. Sight of Fortitude. Rise early. Rise strong.